Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back into the SFS channel. My name's Gavin, and today I've got some more Week 3 fantasy football lineup advice with 5 must-start wide receivers, 4 lineups here as we get into NFL Week 3 action. I just want to take a quick second to say thank you all so much. We just passed 2,000 subscribers here on the channel. That's awesome. I'm very appreciative of each and every single one of you that stopped by and shown commitment to my channel and support here, asked your questions, and trusted me to help you out in your fantasy leagues this season and dating back to last year when we got this thing started. So if you're new around here, by all means, we want you joining this community, helping this thing continue growing strong and progress this channel forward as we continue to have a strong 2021 season. I just want to say thank you all really quick because, again, I appreciate each and every single one of you 2,000 so very much. So with that being said, we've got ourselves those, again, 5 must-start receivers for this week. I love the matchups. I love the talent. I love the skill. I love the upside in lineups this week, regardless of scoring format. So without wasting any time, let's hit that intro and jump straight in to our first player. Alrighty, here we go. Hopping into our first name up on the list. DJ Moore against the Houston Texans on the road on Thursday Night Football this week is a fantasy situation I absolutely love here. This Panthers offense is a heck of a lot more explosive, and they are a lot more productive shooting the ball downfield than I expected them to be this season. Sam Darnold, he got the job done in Week 1 against a relatively inept Jets defense. Now, they're not the most atrocious unit in the league, but they're also not something I would consider to be a stifling defense. He came out there, got the job done, but then what was really encouraging for me was against the Saints in Week 2. He improved. He took a step forward. He got better. And DJ Moore continued to impress. And from, well, what are we in now, year 3 or is it year 4 for DJ Moore? He's shown an extra leap in his route running and just his poise as a player. He looks like a lot more of a legitimate number 1 option for a team. And he was very, very talented. We've always known that. Last year, he led the National Football League in percentage of 1 contested catches down the field. That's a heck of an impressive stat for a guy who's under 6 feet tall. But again, he continues to develop himself as a wide receiver, become even more polished. And for a person, myself, who expected Robbie Anderson, the player who had the chemistry with Sam Darnold coming over from New York together, to be the leading player in the targets department for the Panthers this season, as he was in 2020 with Teddy Bridgewater under center, DJ Moore has proven me wrong here. I liked both of these options this season. Now, neither of them are really a dominant red zone presence, but DJ Moore has certainly established himself here. Again, on the road against the Texans team that traded away their top boundary corner, Bradley Roby, to the Saints, who he played against last week, because obviously Houston's rebuilding. And notably, we've also got Davis Mills starting for the Texans because Tyrod Taylor's been ruled out already. This is a situation I think can play very well here. Now, going back to that Davis Mills point I just made, the one risk, the one area of concern could potentially be, do the Panthers get a little bit too ahead too fast here and ultimately get out to such a lead that they stop passing the football at a high volume in the game? That's certainly a risk. But what my hope is here is that in a good matchup with a player of this talent, if they get out to that lead, I anticipate DJ Moore will be worked into and contribute to attaining that lead to begin with. So I'm not too worried about that situation playing out here. But DJ Moore, he's too talented to fail. It's a great matchup this week. Him and Sam Darnold seem to be getting better and better as the weeks go on here. I'm expecting a very strong Week 3 performance from him. Devonta Smith on the road at Dallas. Now, Dallas is not the weak secondary that it was last season. They're not an elite secondary. They're not an elite defensive unit. Trayvon Diggs is a ball hawk, and he might see some very nice coverage from him this week, which could potentially hinder his ability to just blow past the defense and get open downfield. But what makes me think that Devonta Smith is a must-start player this week has honestly less to do with the potential very favorable matchup that is the Cowboys secondary and more to do with what we've seen so far this season from their rushing defense. They are a very fast, very fluid linebacking core that can fly downfield and stop running backs near the line of scrimmage. We saw them completely shut down Tampa Bay's rushing offense in Week 1, and Austin Eckler did find some success sneaking through holes and getting lost in the defense. And although Miles Sanders is very talented, he's very elusive, I think he's going to struggle and have less success than Eckler did last week, who also notably was very involved as a pass catcher and did a lot of his damage in that phase of the game. So I think the Eagles' offense is going to be very dependent on Jalen Hurts using his own legs and getting things done in that aspect, and I do expect they'll probably have a healthy share of quarterback spy plays going on here to try and stop Hurts from doing that. They're going to try and keep him in the pocket here. That means feeding the football to your number one passing target, Devonta Smith. Help him have and show us that breakout performance in week 1 wasn't a fluke. And I think Devonta can get the ball rolling back here in week 3 and pick up where he left off. It was a down week last week, didn't have too many receptions against the 49ers defense that I did think he could exploit because their top corner was out. But nonetheless, Devonta should trend back in the right direction here this week. Sterling Shepard, you see the 3 in his name here. I love this. I saw this on Twitter the other day. He's a completely reborn player here. Sterling Shepard looks like a beast with Daniel Jones here this season. He looks like he's taken over as the number one passing threat. Forget Kenny Golladay. Sterling Shepard has led this team in passing targets, yards, receptions. He's scoring touchdowns. He didn't have one this past week, but against the Falcons secondary, what's not to like here? He's catching passes at the line of scrimmage and using his legs to get run after catch. He's running routes very, very well in catching passes downfield. This is a situation I absolutely love. This is a player who has been around the league for a while now. He is somewhat of a seasoned veteran at this point in his career. He should come out here, be a mismatch for these Falcons corners and these secondary players, find his space. Daniel Jones does turn the football over, but he's dynamic enough to at least make plays and get his players the football. This should be a very good offensive day for the Giants as a whole. I expect productive outings from their rushing and receiving phases of this offensive game plan. Hollywood Brown at Detroit here. Again, what's not to like? Detroit's down Jeff Okudah, season-ending injury. The secondary is not all that elite, and Hollywood Brown has proved me wrong this season. He has matured as a player, bulked up. He's less of a skinny and frail wideout that we saw him come in the league. He was a toothpick. He's bulked up. You can tell just watching him on TV. He has gained weight and appears to be more capable of hanging with physical cornerback play. He's speedy, still separates, gets open on his routes, and he's found the end zone here and was an integral part to that Baltimore offense beating the Chiefs in week 2. So for the time being, he is the clear-cut number one passing option in this Ravens offense. No Rashad Bateman on the field. That's a big-time contributor. Sammy Watkins still gets the job done out there. But Hollywood's the best guy in the field right now catching passes. He's even outperformed Mark Andrews to this point and has more touchdowns than Mark Andrews does so far this season, which maybe by the end of the year things will have flipped around a little bit, but Hollywood has been nothing short of impressive. And against, again, the Lions, who struggled to defend deep passing routes, I think Hollywood's in for a big game here. The ceiling's very high. I think that all Ravens offensive players have a nice ceiling this week against Detroit. And then Michael Pittman here, the last name on the list for today's video. Pittman proved me wrong again last week. I mean, for a player who was so disappointing in week 1 when the Colts played the Seattle Seahawks, he did virtually nothing. I put him on the must-sit list in week 2. You know, I figured Jalen Ramsey, he's just going to get shut down. There's going to be no room to catch that football. He's going to struggle. It's one of the top defensive units in the league. Keep him out of your lineups. The man goes for over 100 yards receiving, has that breakout performance, and shows us why the Colts picked him at the top of the second round in the 2020 draft. So this week against the Titans, a much more favorable defensive matchup than the Rams were last week. Now, maybe he won't quite get to that 117 or 18-yard performance. I forget exactly where he finished at for the day. But what he will do is I expect him to make up for that production, either it's scoring a touchdown or having a high volume of targets thrown his way. The one kicker here that could impact this week's game for Michael Pittman is the health of Carson Wentz. Now, Carson sprained both of his ankles. It's a little bit up in the air right now. Is he going to be available? Is he going to start? Is he going to be out for Indianapolis' lineup this week? That'll play a big-time factor. So keep your eye on that, as quarterback play is one of the most important things for non-superstar wide receivers, because you're only as good as the guy who can actually get the football to you, regardless if you're open by 10 yards. So Pittman, the matchup is great. The situation is great. If you give me his quarterback, pencil him in. Must-start player here in week 3. All right, everybody, those were 5 must-start wide receivers for Week 3 fantasy football action. Again, if you want any lineup advice, need help setting those flex positions, trade advice, whatever the case may be, drop that down in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. Turn that bell on so you're never late, never miss an episode here if you all are new around here to the channel. Again, we're trying to grow this community and make this one of the most interactive fantasy channels out there, if not the most interactive fantasy channels. I try and get back to literally every single one of you guys if I can when you've got questions for me. So thank you all so much for watching. Go check out some of the other episodes that I posted along with this video for today. This is just one of 3 episodes that I've got going up here on Tuesday, September 21st. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.